This is the fullest the screen has ever been in Streakers Island podcast history.
Literally.
Like, it is so full that I don't think Dan's going to even have room for a donut. Welcome, everybody, to the Streakers Island podcast. Which Dan did I mean? Nobody knows. Oh, Dan Moore's got his creepy Starbucks drink, but it is I, Jacob Moore, the self-proclaimed sports analyst, joined with a huge panel of
You're
guests.
worried about his drink? I'm looking at the hat.
What about the hat? It's a good hat, Will. This hat is coming soon on sale. Anyone can buy it.
So, of course, we have Lane Dashing Dashco, the one and only Dan Gray, formerly known from 705 Sports.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Mr. Gray. We have Mr. More for your money.
Woo!
And we were debating if Chazzy got the full 6.0 update yet. The headband is only part, so we'll say Chazzy 5.0 for now. Wait for the 6th update. It's going to be legendary, folks. But we got a big game tonight, everyone. Edmonton versus Dallas. So I want to start with Dan Gray on this. Dan, you're in Alberta. You got the feel of the people, right?
Yeah.
How are Albertans feeling right now heading into tonight's game?
They're wishing it wasn't Skinner.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, those two shutouts didn't do it for them. They're more focused on the last game more than his two previous shutouts leading into it.
It's a what have you done for me lately situation.
Yeah, exactly.
And two of those goals in the third were probably his fault.
Sounds
Now,
like car sales.
Granted, you have a defensive core that decided it was going to do absolutely nothing to make it any easier.
Right.
And defensive lapses on the penalty kill, which we can get into how much the NHL called penalties if we want to. But you also got to know that by game 5, the whistles taste really, really nice and they swallow them.
True, right? And I will say it'll be interesting to see once special teams don't pay as much into a factor. But what would scare me a bit if I'm Edmonton is the way Dallas, the second line, finally woke up. Because the second line has not done much for the playoffs. It's mostly been shut down Rantanen and shut down Dallas. And the last game, you had big games from Duchesne, Johnson, Tyler Seguin. So your second and your third line seemed to finally get going. And Lane, you're always talking about Heiskanen. He was a force to be reckoned with in game 1.
Yeah, he's an awesome player. He's got so much speed back there, causes so much chaos when a defenseman has that kind of speed and can skate around at will like that. He can keep up with McDavid when he has to. I just think when you have that speed, I think that's something the Leafs are actually missing is someone who has that ability to just kind of take it from one end to the other on a defensive end where the speed isn't really an issue, where he can get back when he has to. He can get down there, create a great, odd man rusher. I really like Heiskanen, and I'm glad that he's back because they really needed him, and he was a huge part in that game 1 there.
You had
Also,
that
a quick
Riley,
reminder
though,
from
years.
a viewer over the Streakers Island podcast text line that Memorial Cup also starts tonight. So watch out for the Memorial Cup as well. If you guys want to hear more about our thoughts on Memorial Cup, head over to our pre-recorded show. I just dropped my phone. It's fine. And we really
need that.
But
Pick it up with your toes.
there were some
literally.
rumors that Edmonton was going to be shaking up the lines. There was a big scare that Lane, Dan Gray, and I were talking about off camera because we show up on time. I'm just kidding, Dan and Chazzy. But there was rumors.
You
that
live a
Connor
busy
Brown-
life, Whoa.
There was rumors that Connor Brown was coming out of the lineup and Jeff Skinner
What?
was coming in.
What the-
However, it looks like that's not happening, at least according to Daily Faceoff.
It seems like they're going to go back with run it back one more time. And I think that's probably the best plan for them going forward. Really, they got beat by a penalty kill that couldn't kill a penalty. And in the end, you could say they got beat by the NHL with a couple of really nicky-nacky tic-tac calls, too. But as long as the trend goes the way it's been going, Game 3, Game 4, you're probably not seeing, I think it was 8 overall penalties for both teams. 5
I do not think you'll see that tonight. I think this is going to be a much tighter officiated matchup. And I agree with you, Dan. You said it in the comments too after game 1. Edmonton should just kind of run it back. And I agree. Although I need more out of McDavid and Draisaitl, I don't think 2 points from them is enough to beat Dallas in the game. 2 points each. I think these guys got to take over. I really do. Edmonton's been winning off depth. I don't think depth is enough to beat Dallas.
I still think you could put Kane up where Prokolozin is, and you could take Brown and put where Kapanen is just for a period if it goes sideways. Like if they come out slower, like they don't know what they're doing, that might be your fast flip, or just flip Draisaitl and Henrique. But I'm not sure you want to put Draisaitl in third unless you're trying to get him away from a checking defenseman.
Now, see, if I'm flipping someone, I'm putting Connor Brown on the top line because he has success with Connor McDavid. Yes, it was juniors, but maybe get some magic back there, right? And I'm putting Ryan Nugent-Hopkins down to the third line, and I'm sticking with Podkolzin, Draisaitl, and Kapanen as a second line, maybe moving Evander Kane where Podkolzin's role is. I think the fourth line is good the way it is, although the Chassis 5.0 update pending. You have talked about how you feel Corey Perry should be having a bigger role than what he is.
Oh, he should be at least top line or second line to get some traffic in front of the net.
I agree.
And then
-2.
Draisaitl or Connor shoot when the worm's in front of the net.
Yeah,
Now, mind you,
100%.
someone in front of the net. This is where Corey Perry's going to be used, right?
I know on the first power play.
The way
so
Max
why is
let
he
you
not
do
your
it.
top six?
You have him on your top power play. What I don't like here is I don't particularly like McDavid on the point because I don't think he gets to utilize his breakaway speed when he's at the point. Put him down in the bumper position and give him a chance to maybe make some magic happen, right?
Yeah, but can he just, with all that speed, can he just come straight down from the blue line?
But that's not what you want to do on a power play.
Why the hell not?
Well, because you're trying to take advantage of having extra guys on the ice. But we've also talked about Zach Hyman being on the second power play unit, but then Chazzy says he wants Corey Perry playing with the big boys. So how do you get Zach Hyman on the top power play and keep Corey Perry with the big boys? I don't see
Put
a
him where
way.
Evan Bouchard is and go with 5 forwards.
Yeah,
Well,
you
Put Toronto?
Oh, put Connor Bedard. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Put
doing
Connor,
Connor Bedard in Edmonton, folks.
I'll put Connor
You heard it here
McDavid.
first.
Put Connor McDavid in the center position.
And what, move right and put the Moose down to the second unit?
Yeah, put Moosey second unit. Put McDavid in center. Put
Who's
Draisaitl
Johnson
on the
if you do
point, and put Hyman on the wing.
Well,
And
we already
here's a
have
novel
Toronto Maple
concept.
Leafs have entered the chat. Leafs need 97.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Leafs need more than 97, but okay.
The Leafs need 67. But Max is pointing out, got to keep Bushbaum on the point. And that is the only thing I'd be leery
It's a
of
great point.
with a 5-forward group in Edmonton. Bouchard has really been a catalyst for turning around Edmonton's power play.
Oh, 100%. You got to keep him on the power play for sure.
So I just kind of struggle with giving Bouchard not being on the power play on the unit. But it's interesting to see, right? Edmonton, I think you're going to see some major adjustments if they don't win tonight.
Oh, for
What did I
sure,
say to you?
100%.
What did I say to you off camera, Jacob? The Leafs need Nelson. The Leafs need Ehlers. And if they could go out and get somebody else, or Cowan can play, and I know Moore's not going to like this, but Cowan can get 50 to 60 points. You've replaced both JT and Marner.
I
Well,
hope
that's
to
not a bad
God
pairing to bring
that
in.
Cowan gets 60 points. It's not that I don't dislike him. It's just that in the Team Canada World Juniors, he failed and was
The
so
whole
used.
team failed.
That's what
It
you
was
And
so-
that's like saying Pittsburgh should trade Sidney Crosby because they lost to Denmark.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, Dan, don't tell me
No,
you think
no,
that's
no.
the right call.
Pittsburgh should trade Sidney Crosby to give him a chance at one more cup.
Yeah,
He just doesn't want
100%.
to leave, I think. I don't think he
Hey,
wants to.
there's an idea. Sid for JT.
Well, if they bring in JT, what do you think there? If they added him,
Mind you, there's rumors
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh's bringing in John Tavares.
Well, that's what Chazzy's asking.
If you get Tavares to center that second line, Crosby to center the first,
What
But
about
who plays-
Malkin?
Dan, someone is with you. Congratulations.
Hey! What about Malkin, though? Like, I don't see J.
Move Malkin to the wing. The good thing is Malkin and Tavares both can't skate, so they won't lose each other the way Nylander and Tavares always did.
It's true.
It was a major problem in Toronto this year. You know, funny enough, it used to be a major problem in Edmonton, right? Where
Right.
it used to be Connor McDavid flew by everyone, which is why I would like to see Connor Brown on that second line versus Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Get some speed up there. Connor Brown's a fast player. Like,
Yeah.
say what you want about the guy's got wheels.
The
He does.
one thing that Hyman brings to that line is the same thing he brought to the Maple Leafs. He goes into the corners, he goes to
Children's
the dirty
book.
places, and he gets the puck. And
True.
he gets it to Connor. He gets it to the D line to circulate it around for the shots. They need somebody, and I think you're right. They need somebody that will go stand in front of the net. But the flip side to that is if you leave Hyman and you leave Connor, could you put Perry up on the other wing?
You
Or
could
Kane.
go Perry, McDavid, Hyman. Yeah, actually, I hadn't thought of that.
Because you got somebody. If you're going to say Connor's
Yeah.
your shooter on that line, you've got Perry to be a little dirty and stand in front of the net,
Ooh, really?
and you've got Hyman to do
You're
what
digging.
Hyman's done for the last 4 or 5 years. Go into the
Right.
corner, go to the dirty spots and get it. Perry does that too. But
Yeah.
if you said to Perry, hey, I don't want you chasing the puck. I want you in front of the net. So when Connor shoots, it's a little bit more. And if they do stop Connor, Perry's pretty good up close.
Yeah, he
Now,
is.
mind you, though, is it? And I wonder, Dan, if people at Edmonton would like this or not. Could you see this top line almost getting double shifted and having McDavid double shifted, just have him playing with different line mates? Go like the McDavid line, the Draisaitl line, and then McDavid again with maybe Evander Kane and Corey Perry. Like, if you're down-
Pull the lines up again there, Jacob, for a minute.
You know what, Dan Gray, just for you, absolutely.
As long as you don't blame them when they score with 0.6 seconds left.
I'm just saying, do you wonder, right? Is this maybe a chance to, if let's say you go down early, do you maybe double shift both McDavid and Draisaitl? One
You might
line's a
have to.
McDavid line, one line's a Draisaitl line, and then it just keeps rotating. These guys are
You
being
might
paid
have
big
to.
bucks. It's what I wanted Toronto to do when they were down and out. Not saying Edmonton's down and out. They've lost one game on the road. If they lose tonight, I still don't. I'm not overly concerned.
Edmonton can go down 2-0 tonight as long as it doesn't look as ugly as the other night did, and they'll
Exactly.
be okay.
I
If
agree.
they go down because it's a blowout or it's a 6-1 lead or it's not anything against Maple Leaf fans, but it goes down 6-1 tonight or again, then it might become a bit of a problem because you have
Right.
to get away from Skinner. Picard, they're hoping is back to healthy by game 3.
But he might not be.
But he might not be, so you might have to play with a very shaky Skinner, and then you got to really think about who can you bring in that's more defensive oriented.
I
Right.
do have a question. Does Calvin Pickard with him in Dallas?
He's not playing tonight.
I know he's not playing, but I'm saying hypothetically, is he on the bench?
No.
No, he's not the backup, but he did go with the team.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's
I think
good.
there's a very good chance Calvin Pickard comes in for game 3. It depending on how Skinner plays tonight. Let's say you lose tonight 2-1. You're probably going back to Stuart Skinner.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Mr. Gray, you say you need someone defensively for game 3. We're hoping that Ekholm's going to be healthy in game 3.
I heard it could be
Okay.
another.
Right? He's the best defensive ever.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
Dan Gray does not sound very confident that Ekholm's going to be in game 3. Or does Oiler Nation-
The Edmonton Nation radio station is not overly confident about him being ready, maybe even for game 4.
I heard 10
Wow.
days, right?
Ooh.
That's what they were saying about 10 days, right? Potentially.
Yeah. So and let's play NHL 10 days here. If you're 10 days, you're what was it, 7 weeks for Austin Matthews going to Germany?
Yeah.
what good did that do? Nothing.
Well, apparently nothing, but his 7 to 10 days turned into almost 6 weeks. So
Yeah.
they're never going to give the worst case scenario timeline in a playoff series. But on the flip side, players play a little more injured. So could he? Then the question becomes: is Ekholm at 70% better than the next person you can put in?
So here's my question: who comes out? Right, Troy Stetcher, I think, has been playing better than you expected. Right?
Kulak. Probably
Yeah,
Kulak.
I would take Kulak
Yeah,
out too.
Just because I can't stand him, Klingberg.
Really? I've been impressed with John
Whoa.
Klingberg, and I swear I've been through puberty, guys. I know it sounds like there I have
No,
not, but I have.
I take that back. The only reason maybe is I can never get over the way he played in blue and white, and it just seems like
Oh, I get that. He was bad then.
okay, but take this too. He is very flash in the pan type. He either has a really good game, or he seems like he's lost.
Sounds like
Right.
Stuart Skinner.
Yeah,
That sounds like half of the Edmonton Oilers, but that's not the point.
literally.
Yeah.
So then, the way you talk, Dan, Oiler Nation, even though they went to the Cup Finals last year, they don't sound that confident.
I don't think they're scared. I think they're worried. They're not
Okay.
not confident that they're going to be okay here. I think they're just worried about, well, anybody after watching your team capitulate like they did, 2 nights ago is going to be a little bit concerned.
Oh,
If
for
you're
sure.
a Leaf fan, you're used to it for the last 25 years. Edmonton's just trying to get used to the thought that they might be Leaf fans too.
Dan Gray, I got a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Oilers Nation,
You marry me.
how do they feel about this 1 p.m. local start time on the weekend for
That's
Game 3?
horrible.
I haven't heard much about that one yet, but I can think they're not going to be as drunk as they normally would be. Whether you say that's a bonus or not, they're not going to be.
But do you
Depending on
find this
depending on how tonight goes.
Edmonton's advantage or Dallas's advantage, or like with these early start times? What you're almost
I don't
a day-
think
a
it's
day and a
going to
half
bug
now.
the team much. And Edmonton fans are a bit like Leaf fans and a bit like Canadian fans. You could play at 9 a.m. and you get rowdy fans.
Yeah.
Like,
But
the
I
only,
think
the only
I-
team that and this is not actually this is a shot at the Canucks. The only team that wouldn't bring out a 9 a.m. full stadium and whatever is Vancouver Canucks, and part of that is because you can't get down there on a good day.
But I think part of this conversation is too, if you remember, Dan, when Connor McDavid whined about having to play at 7 o'clock because
That's what I was going to say.
I don't know if he was just trying to.
But he's
trying
going to
to-
be mad at this start time.
I don't know if he was
Oh,
just trying to
what?
get under Leaf Nation's skin or if he's legitimately bothered that he has to wake up earlier.
Here's my thought process. Is he saying that just to maybe make Dallas think that he's slower? Mind you, he's playing at 7 o'clock like he is tonight. Well, 8 o'clock, 6 here. He comes out. Sometimes that's one of the downsides to McDavid is he comes out slow for the first 3 or 4 shifts. It takes him a little bit of time to get into the game, get into the flow.
Get
Right.
warmed up. Yeah.
Now whether that's just the way Edmonton plays, because yes, that is somewhat times any team can come out slow. You watch the Leafs; they just don't come out at all. But like give up. Edmonton can't do a give up 25 shots before you take a shot, and I don't think Edmonton could do that if they wanted to. Well, if they wanted to, but I don't see why any other team would ever want to do that.
Hey, that was a Leaf strategy because they booked their tea time. They didn't want to miss their golf. Fans are not happy, by the way, that they've already seen some of the players on the golf course.
And the players too, like JT.
Oh no, you see
Austin
the
Matthews.
players. Nylander's over in Stockholm, getting ready to take on the toughest team according to Canada and Denmark.
No, I get that. But I mean, to have Rose Free at the golf course and Rare the Free that didn't show up, like that's pretty bad.
But
Like
so,
I say with Steven Rentz at the golf course, okay, you earned the 800,000, go have a nice time. But Rose
can't afford the
Free,
golf
like
course in
$30
Toronto.
million chilling at the golf course, 30 plus million, I should say. Yeah, I'm pretty unhappy.
No, I think the big thing Edmonton's got to work on going into this game is special teams. Only 1 for 3 on the power play, only killing off 1 out of 4 penalties on the penalty kill. That has to be better because you look at a lot of the other stats. Like, okay, Dallas dominated in faceoffs, but in my opinion, that was to be expected.
Yeah.
Edmonton out hit them. Shot blocks were around even. So were the giveaway and takeaway stats, and so are the shots on goal. So Edmonton, if they either don't take so many penalties, or if their power play can be as electric as Dallas's,
Right.
Here's
right,
your,
it's a different match.
Jacob. The other problem, as we talked about off the recording here, was -1 for Connor McDavid.
Well, and you know what? And I have been preaching this a lot, and I think Dan, Chazzy, and Dashing Dashco have been kind of disagreeing with me on this, and that's fine if they have, fine if they're not. Maybe I'm just calling people out for no reason. I need a lot more out of McDavid and Draisaitl. I don't
Oh,
think they.
sure.
I haven't seen a. Tell me a game these playoffs they've just taken over.
Not since the LA series.
Even the LA series, I think it was Calvin Pickard who said, "Hold my beer." It wasn't Connor McDavid.
Okay.
It wasn't Leon Draisaitl. Draisaitl only has 6 goals these playoffs. That's not enough.
Draisaitl and McDavid
Matt?
are still doing better than anybody else that we might have cheered for a week ago before they ended up on the golf course.
Yeah.
3
I
weeks later than normal.
understand that, but I expect them to be better. If you remember last year when Edmonton needed it, Draisaitl or McDavid would just completely take over. And I haven't seen that. I've seen Connor Brown take over a game. I've
Okay.
seen Calvin Pickard take over a game.
How much of
haven't-
that though
Ooh,
is
sorry.
every single team that goes against Edmonton understands shut down Draisaitl, shut down Connor, and you have a fighting chance.
Yeah, but they're supposed.
doesn't make
Everyone
them
goes
score.
on. McDavid is the greatest player to ever touch ice. I'm not as much as I was never a big fan of him. Wayne Gretzky, everyone knew that too, but he would still manage to score. Mind you, scoring back then was a hell of a lot easier than it is now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I found this year in general, I don't find the star players have taken over as many games in the playoffs this year. Like we can remember some games that William Nylander took over in Toronto.
And
There's some
win.
games that Mikko Rantanen has taken over in Dallas.
Mhm.
There hasn't been as much of it from Draisaitl and McDavid. Mind you, they're leading the way in points.
Yeah.
So, like, Dan, to your point, like Mr. Gray, I get your point. We're just going to more for and Dan to get rid of the confusion. But I just want a bit more out of these guys. When I felt like when Edmonton went down 4-3 in the third, I looked at more for and said, this is where McDavid and Draisaitl have to take over. And they just
Okay.
did.
Pick up the phone, call Bettman, tell him, no, just hear me out here. Tell him he has to tell the referees
Hey, refs.
to call interference on the chip and chase.
Oh, yeah, that's been a huge problem. Either that or Edmonton
That
needs to just
slowed
do the
down.
same
That
thing.
slowed down Toronto. That
Yeah.
slowed down Winnipeg.
It slowed down
that
Carolina too.
If you have fast teams and you can that are used to dump the puck, go around the player, get to the puck, and that player that interferes with them doesn't get interference, Florida. Like Florida does it to a T.
Yeah.
They do.
Just enough to not get a penalty. But the definition of interference that's called in October and the definition of interference that's called in May, going into June, like the players know that that's not going to be called in June.
And we've talked about that in the past, Mr. Gway, on previous episodes.
we
You
have.
need 2 versions of the rule books, one for playoff, one for season. It's not one officially at the moment.
I'd go
But-
even further, Moore. I think you got 3 versions of the rule book. One for regular season, one for playoffs, and one for Canadian teams.
Even for round, if
You know what, Dan? It's hard for me to disagree with you, though, because actually, I have never got your opinion on this, and I think this has to do with Canadian teams. The kick-in goal against Winnipeg. Was
here
that
we
a
go.
goal?
Oh, we're going backwards now.
No, but we're talking about different rules. And
Buckle up in DeWollian, folks. We're going
if you
back in
remember,
time.
During that episode, I threw all my books out of the room because I said rule books no longer apply. So is that a goal if it's the other way around?
If it's the other way around, if that's Toronto, if that's Edmonton, if that's Winnipeg, Vancouver, if they ever make the playoffs, Calgary the same way. If that's any one of those teams that have a red and white flag behind them, the answer is that is never a goal.
I disagree, but
Well,
Wait,
so
you actually think that was a goal?
yeah, I do.
Oh,
I think it's a goal because he played the puck. Because no,
he's a goalie. That's his job.
Jacob, I understand that.
Grab your popcorn, folks. Eat the popcorn.
Kaylin, go
The
ahead.
rule- Listen, but here's what I'm trying to say. And I remember when you read it out at 3 a.m, it finally clicked to me because the rule says if it gets kicked in and nothing happened, like no one touches it, it's no goal. So if Hellebuck saw it kicked in, everybody saw it kicked in. Why do you just leave it alone? Say, oh, it's kicked in. I don't care. Why is he even trying to play it? He saw the guy kick it. Just leave it alone. Let it go in. Why did he even try to play? But he
I'm
saw
telling you,
everyone
it's-
saw the kick. The blind guy in the 500 saw it was a kick.
That's how fed up Dan Gray is in that comment.
Well, no, that's Rex. That you know Rex,
he's got a
Jacob.
beautiful
That's
dog.
Rex deciding he wants his dinner.
But
Oh, I forgot about that. Both Wex and Bear are German Shepherds.
But Lane, to
Isn't
your
that
point
awesome?
on that,
Oh,
though,
it's
is how
Rex?
do you tell a goalie not to play the position?
Jesus, Rex.
I know,
And that's my issue, right? You can't a goalie's. And I'm okay when I say this. I was a rep hockey goalie champion, by the way, very good in my young days, and your instinct is to automatically stop the puck,
Fair
no
enough.
matter what.
Yeah.
So, and it says, but that's like saying if you kick it directly at the goalie's pad and it hits his pad and squeaks in, then it's a goal. That's ludicrous.
Okay,
Luda.
Lane, let's think about it this way. Let's put this in OHL terms. That's the Knights. Rex, stop. That's the Knights that are kicking the goal in, or the Generals that are kicking the goal in, and it's the Knights on the other side. Does that count?
I still think it does. Yeah, I think
No,
it
it
does.
doesn't.
count.
I don't think it matters what team kicked it in against whatever team. I think it should be very definite and clear. Is it a goal or is it not a goal? None of us black and white BS. And that's why I just said if you had AI officials, all of us
Oh.
would have been taken care of.
Not this again.
I think the reason why it's a goal is because they acknowledged it was a kick. I think if they would have said, "Oh, it wasn't a kick," then you could be like, "Well, now they're just making things up." But they acknowledged on the ice that it was a kick. Like I don't know, I see it.
Okay. So
I could be
This
wrong.
is just one thing I'm going to
let's
say.
put
This I
this
hate
tonight.
it.
Let's put this in tonight. Connor's out front. He kicking motion, a clear kicking motion. It hits the pad on the way in because it kicks off the top of the pad and goes into the net. You're going to tell me they're going to use the same rule and say that's a goal. Because if that's the case, then you're going to start to see a whole lot of more soccer in NHL hockey.
And
Which
que-
we don't
I got-
want.
I got a question. Did Ottinger stand there and let it go off of him, or did he move to make a save?
That's the goalie's job.
No, but we have to. But they said because he moved. So no, we have to describe it. Did he
Okay,
stand there?
But
let's-
that's
let's call it-
That's the way it's worded in the rules.
Yeah, so
because-
I'm asking a fair question.
Okay, so let's go with this. So Connor's on the side of the net. Puck comes in. He's supposed to deflect it with his stick, and he's deflecting it. And he, got to do it with my foot. Take foot off the ice, kick it in, or deflect it in off the foot. And the goalie is making the general right to left motion that he would have to do in order to make the save as a goaltender, and it clips his pad on the way in.
So I think I could be wrong, but I think I've seen there's a word said intent. If the
Yes.
goalie has the intent to make a save, or he's just doing his flow, then it's not a goal.
Hey, can I just say something here to fix
No.
all this
But that's
problems?
sort of the way they.
Yeah, see, Dan. Dan,
Like,
here's the thing.
the
I
rules.
understand what you're trying to say, Dan. I agree that these rules are like they're so out there, and you could go about it 100 different ways. But I think what they were mad at the most was because Hellebuck, you could see, and whether he meant to or not, because he's a goalie, he did extend his left arm to get his stick out there. Now, I guess you could. Now, I know Jacob's going to kick me up the podcast and say that's what a goalie's supposed to do, and maybe he's right. I'm not saying a goalie can't fight back on their instincts, but at the end of the day, he did extend his left.
There's like a half a second flinch, they said, that he made, which is what they determined.
Which
as
is what showed
intent. Did I
intent.
agree with it? No, but I'm just saying how they.
Okay, then if you're going to do that, just let them kick it.
That's what I was going to say.
No, but
The
seriously,
goal
if
scoring
it's
is
gonna be
down. They want
this
more
much-
goals, so let them kick it in. Let soccer players forward in, and everyone's happy.
No, because
Let-
then there
let
was
them
an
use
interesting
high
one
sticks,
when it
too,
directed
like
off
that. Use a lacrosse
Scheifele's. No,
stick.
hold on. But there was an interesting one when it hit off Scheifele's hand. It hit the goalie. It went in. They said no goal.
That's right.
And I would call them very, and mind you, that's in the same series, right? So
That's when Winnipeg fans
go
yelled,
on
"You
to
should have
talk
kicked
about-
it."
Was there an intent to save the puck? That's what. So there was no
Okay,
intent.
Shazzy,
but there's
is
no
your
goal.
intent when you work out to sweat? Is my intent to get hydrated when I drink a water bottle? is my intent when I use a computer mouse to move my cursive. Like, it's
What's a cursive?
But on that
You-
play, they said there was like a half a second of intent, and that's
you've gone into part of the problem with NHL hockey, and
they won't admit
to
when
an
they're wrong.
extent, any professional sport that has some sort of referees, was it intent for him to miss that striker ball call by an inch? Was there intent? Intent is a very judgmental thing
exactly.
that
This
can be
is
used
the rule.
that can be used one way or the other. Was there intent to
AI
interfere
can
with
fix all of this.
Was there intent to interfere with the goaltender as you're going through the blue ice?
Right? I don't know.
Was there intent to injure when you take the elbow to the head of Stollarts?
Right? I would say
Is there intent?
Yes.
Intent. If you want to get rid of these problems, you need to get rid of the word intent. Every time it's inside, it's either black or white. Kick in, goes off goalie, goal. Kick in, doesn't go off goalie, no goal. No intent, no nothing. Just that's black and white.
Or just say if it's a kick in, no goal no matter what, or you can kick it in. Never mind if this didn't go off the goalie, any of this other BS.
Yeah.
Just say
If you run into the goalie and he's in the blue ice,
it's not a goal. It shouldn't be a goal.
and
I
it
actually
goes
like
in the
the
next
old
5
rule.
seconds, it's not a goal.
No, but I actually like the old rule where your foot was not allowed in the crease unless you were Brett Hall in the Stanley Cup final scoring the game-winning goal. Then your foot
Yeah,
was allowed in
yeah.
the crease.
But that's
But-
IHF rule too.
And you know what though? In my opinion, it's a better rule. Just say because why does the goalie have a crease?
Does that make it blue and white?
Ha
Here's $1 million question. Just to
Not
put it
$1
out
million,
there,
Jordan.
just for fun. What happens if you kick a puck or punch the puck and it goes off the post and in? Because we talk about hitting the goalie. What happens if it hits the post?
This is the problem.
Is there intent for the goalie to try and save it?
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Maybe he's
Hold
trying.
on.
I don't know.
Even
Because
better,
if it hits
was
the
there
post, it's not a
intent for
shot.
the post to attempt to make the save?
It's like,
That's either make it you can't
No, because the
kick
post
it
is
or
not
make it.
moving, so it's not making a move. So
yeah,
like-
but maybe it was their plan to hit it off the
But
post.
Chazzy, there are
Everything moving
molecules
at a
inside of
molecular
everything
level.
that is constantly moving. Therefore, the post is moving.
Everything at a molecular level is constantly moving.
See, here's the thing.
Now,
There's electrons.
are the molecules moving in such a way to make it an attempt to stop the puck?
I still
Where's
don't
the
think-
intent?
Earth is always spinning, folks.
Now,
The
So all I'm getting at is, and I
Oh, is
hope
it
we
flat?
don't see another one. Every series, there's been one call that has really, in my opinion, changed the whole series. Every close series, and I think this series, as no Lane, you seem to think Dallas is just going to plow over
Stoller.
Edmonton.
that's not what I said. I said I could see the potential of it happening. I know it's going to happen. I said I
No, but
could
you're the only one I know that sees it could happen. Everyone, so like, actually, in Lane, I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate
going
it.
to happen. I said I could see one of these.
Yeah.
Now he's flip flopping again.
No, if you go back, I said
Nice.
I could. Because I got the circus book, I said the reason I don't think it'll be 7 games is because I could see one of these teams getting confident and plowing through. I could, because they're both very talented teams. I could see them getting
I
confident.
can see this going 4-1 Edmonton.
You could.
Wow,
If they
you
win
think
tonight-
Edmonton's gonna do the gentleman's
Wow.
sweep?
If they win tonight, 3-1, 4-1, and they come home, they get last change, which will make a significant difference.
Right.
And you're probably with an Edmonton crowd and last change, as long as Skinner or Picard can even half pretend to play goalie with even like a 9-10 save percentage, you probably see them up 3-1 going back to Dallas. Now, whether that turns into 3-2, because Dallas is people, we had this conversation off too, Jacob, about the pregame. If anybody's ever watched the pregame for Dallas, it would give the the Vegas Knights a run for their money.
It would.
So there's a lot of amped up. You come out, there's a lot of amped up people. And here's part of the problem when I'm looking at this too. Stahl should be the second line center. Sorry, Steele.
You say
Yeah.
Steele over Duchesne? I could actually see that. Duchesne's had a very quiet playoffs.
I could also see
No, he woke up
Duchesne-
last game.
I
He
can
was
also see
great.
Duchesne in a blue and white uniform on the second line next year between Nylander
God.
and
I
Cowan.
like him a lot. You like Duchesne, Dan? Do you like Duchesne?
I don't know why, but I never liked him, and I have no reasoning for backing that up. I remember even back
That's
in the
not the game in
draft
general.
when he was
I
drafted
think
for.
more. I think more that you could maybe say he's a bit like a Kleinberg in a way. He's either really hot or really cold. He either knows what he's doing or he looks a little bit lost.
Yeah.
And he's either winning a lot of faceoffs or not.
Oh,
And that's
losing
part
a
of the reason I say Duchesne back to Toronto is because he would fit that face-off guru that we lose in JT a little bit.
Right.
True,
If
yeah.
it's a big face-off for Dallas, who's taking the face-off pretty
Duchesne.
much every single time?
Duchesne, he's your best face-off guy.
He's your
So
best
would you
face-off.
rather have Matt Duchesne
It-
or John Tavares? That's the $1 million question.
I think I'd rather have Duchesne because I would never put Tavares on the second line again. Too
Yeah.
slow.
Hmm.
Duchesne can at least skate.
skate.
I think if you go look it up there, Jacob, I think he's in the 65 or 70 percentile for speed in the NHL. And JT is like 55 or whatever.
Yeah, JT's
But-
slow. And two, you see
Nylander's
Duchesne-
at 80.
Mhm.
So, and Cowan's quick.
Yeah.
So if you could put, and not to get away from tonight's game, but if you could put Duchesne between Cowan and Nylander, or Duchesne between Ehlers and Nylander.
And you think about, in theory, even if you have to pay Duchesne, let's say, this full number out for, let's say $9 million, $9 million is
I think
still
you get
cheaper than
7.5.
11.
I think you get Duchesne for 6.
I
Getting
think
paid
the only
3 right
person
now.
you see, the only center on the free agent market that you see go above 9 right now is Bennett.
I hate
Above
saying it.
9.
John
See, Bennett, he's saying Bennett. We were talking about that the other night.
We were
Yeah.
Bennett's getting 9.5.
Holy cow. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, but so let's play it this way. Toronto pays Bennett 9.5. Toronto goes out and gets Ehlers for 6.5, 7, and you have Cowan. You're now at 17 million, so you're 2 above what Marner has, and you've probably replaced. You've made yourself a little bit tougher, and you've probably replaced all the points you would have lost from JT and Marner. And yes, that's the dog now trying to paw me in the face to tell me it's dinner time.
Yeah, it's like, see
But my
that?
question for you boys is, who gets the win? Actually, this is a question from from Streakers Gaming. Who's going to win another hot rivalry tonight? And this is a big one tonight for both of these teams. I'm going to say this right off the hop here. This is this Dallas group last chances this team to get to the Stanley Cup Finals because you
Yes.
have Duchesne's contracts coming up, Ben's contracts coming
Sagan.
up, Sagan's contracts coming up, and Rantanen's contract is tripling. So
It's so is the goalie is doubling.
and Ottinger's doubling. So
Ottinger,
big
thank
changes
you.
are coming. So, Mr. Chazzy 5.0, let's start with you. Who's winning tonight? Is it going to be the Dallas Stars or the Edmonton Oilers?
The color of my sweatband, the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, boy.
But you think they're going to be sweating quite a bit? They're gonna have to
No,
work
I
hard.
like Mr. Gray's analogy here, 4-1. But they got to play for a full 60, stay out of the box, and just do what they did the first 2 rounds. They look like a team on a
Good.
mission. And
Good
I
thing
think-
you say that, Chazzy, and it was my analogy because in reality it's 4-2 Dallas.
Ooh.
Ooh,
4-2 Dallas.
4-2 Dallas. Tell me why,
And-
Mr. Gray.
And if Edmonton could pull this away at 4-1, I can see them winning 4-1. But reality being the way Ottinger's playing, the question marks around Skinner,
Yeah.
and the way the penalties are going to be called again for game 2, and take away the penalty kill that doesn't seem to kill anything for Edmonton, I can see 4-2 with them not even having the lead tonight.
Wow.
Wow.
well, like another late game charge.
No. Dallas goes up 3-0 and they try to make it back.
So you're seeing kind of like what we saw Carolina, Florida game 1, where Florida kind of dominated. Carolina made it a bit of a game, but realistically, Florida had it under control.
And I think if you see Dallas score the first goal, you'll see Dallas score the first 2 or 3 goals because that's going to get
And
into
that's the way
Skinner's
Skinner
head
is.
so fast.
Yeah.
And Edmonton's going to go, uh-oh. And especially if it's an even remotely bad-looking goal. Like if it's a tip in from 10 feet in front and it gets by Skinner, okay, that's hockey. But if it's a beats him clean on the glove side high, which is one of his problems, or on the blocker side low, which is the other one, and it beats him clean from 30 feet out, that's going to do a whole lot of bad to the psyche of the Oilers. And if that happens in the first 5 to 10 minutes, you might be able to kiss the game goodbye.
Wow.
So,
I'm with Dan.
Lane, what are your thoughts here? Because I know you said you think it's possible that a team could run away with this. Are we going to see the way Dan Gray is saying that Dallas, the way they took over in the third period, they're going to keep it up? Or do you think Stuart Skinner, he seems to have one good game, one bad game. He just had an iffy game. Now is he due for a good game?
I think it's going to depend on this first period, really. I could see the confidence, like I said before, how the way that Dallas ended that game with that momentous charge and kind of getting it all back, getting their momentum, getting all those goals in the third period. I could see them coming out really strong here in front of their home crowd here, maybe getting in the head of Skinner, like Mr. Gray had said, get his confidence shaky. So, he maybe get him off his game early. I think if Skinner can stay strong in the first period, make some key saves, and maybe, like you said, Mr. Moore, getting those guys kind of McDavid and Draisaitl kind of get going, show that why those are the two best players. Edmonton can seal one, but I think this first period, especially the first 20 minutes, is going to be the key to the game.
First 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You have to survive Dallas for the first 10 minutes. They're going to come out. They're going to shoot every puck from every angle. And one thing Edmonton doesn't do that Toronto did really, really good at is block shots.
You are right there, and that's a big issue with them missing Ekholm, right?
I believe if you go look, they are the least blocked shots of the 4 remaining teams.
I think you're right.
Florida might be a little bit lower, but Florida blocked a lot of Toronto last round. But I think if you look at it, I think if you go find the block shots for the 4 remaining teams for the playoffs so far, you're going to find they might be even significantly less than even Carolina. Carolina shoots from everywhere, but Carolina doesn't let a whole lot of shots from everywhere.
So on average, Edmonton is only blocking 12 shots a game.
Yeah.
Edmonton had a good night for them, blocking 15 in game 1. And to put in perspective, comparing to Toronto, their average was 41 block shots a game.
I was going to say Toronto was the best block shots at above 35.
So I'm going to go on the flip side here, and I've been calling out McDavid and Draisaitl a lot on the Streakers Island podcast, powered by Streakers Gaming, not sponsored by Home Depot, but Home Depot give me a call.
How's he even wearing the sweatband to Home Depot, bro?
Exactly. But I think Edmonton's going to wake up. I don't see McDavid and Draisaitl being human for this long in the playoffs. Like, I'm not saying they've been bad, right? Dan, you're rolling your eyes at me. You're sick of me already. Come on, you also showed me for 2 years. But I'm looking at this team.
I put up with this for like 8 months in Sault Ste. Marie. I'm used to this.
I'm really seeing this is the time for McDavid and Draisaitl to step up. I think this could be a game where McDavid and Draisaitl was involved in every goal. And that is how Edmonton will get a big win tonight. And I think Skinner will play okay. I don't think
how they go -2 because they're involved in the goals for Dallas too.
Well, they can't, right? Like, they have to play better. They got to be better at both ends of the puck. I think if Dallas takes over early, McDavid and Draisaitl will get put back together on a line, and that's when they started to dominate against Dallas last year in the playoffs.
Which is great until Dallas shuts them both down at once.
But it's so hard to shut them both down at once, and Edmonton's depth is better than they were last year. So maybe then you're loading up a line defensively, and then it's opening up Nugent Hopkins, Kane, and Brown to maybe get out there and do something, right? So I'm going to take the Oilers tonight. I think they tie the series, and if they tie the series, they're going to be happier than Bear once he gets his dinner when we're off the air.
That's Rex. Rex is going to get the dinner, not Bear. Bear's cool as a cucumber, bro. Don't even hear him.
Rex has now moved to beside his dish.
Did you take the hint here?
Correct.
Mr. Moore for your money.
Yes, sir.
Who is winning tonight? Are you going to, right now we're kind of in the middle on who we're taking. Some of us are taking Edmonton. Some of us are taking Dallas. I honestly just hope both teams have fun while they're at it. But who do you expect to win tonight?
Blow's got to stick together, Jamo. You're my blow. So I'm taking Edmonton. Now, there's a reason why I'm taking Edmonton. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jacob. You're the expert in goalies. Isn't Stuart Skinner pretty good at bounce back games after he had a bad game?
Very good when he
Right, number one.
games.
Number two, some interesting thing that no one's talking about. So I'm going to call it out right here on the island. And if people hate me, well, they can put it in the comments.
Uh-oh.
Put you on the island.
Yeah, you're right, Jacob. Can't do anything about this.
I mute your mic.
So, in Dallas today, guess who visits the stars in the dressing room of Dallas?
Mike Medano? I don't know.
Nope. Two more guesses, folks. Two more guesses. Come on.
Nick Suzuki.
No. One more guess, people. Who's got the last guess? Going once, going twice?
Gretzky.
So, you got it, Gretzky. Gretzky was in the Dallas dressing room against his former Oilers team.
Wow.
And you
didn't
got
even
all the
Google that.
politics behind of all this.
Wow.
Lay down in the chair.
I think this is going to really piss off Edmonton. And I think Connor McDavid is going to show why he is the Greek one and not the Greek one.
One moment. please.
Wowzers.
Rex, go lay down.
Yeah, Rex, lay down. I miss you, Rex. But
Wow.
you know what, Dan?
Who said Gretzky? Chazzy?
Huh?
Great.
No, I think
Gretzky's over
Gretzky.
my shoulder here with the great Gordie Howe.
That's right.
I will say people, in general in Canada are not overly thrilled of Gretzky, and this is just a way to make Canadians even more put off with him. And the Oilers. I mean, Gretzky's his most success was in Edmonton.
Yeah.
Yes, he
He
had
only
great
won a
years.
cup in Edmonton.
Only won his cups in Edmonton. Edmonton did win a cup without Gretzky. That's something
That's
I
right.
like to bring up quite a bit.
He played with the
Uh,
Rangers too, no?
For anyone that cares, Blue Jays
Aye.
are down 2-0 in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, they just give up a home
Oh,
run.
the Jays
Well, they
are
said
losing already
sweet
to the
San
Rays.
Diego, so we're happy with the bro.
No. We're not happy with Blue Jay fans of just a sweep against the Padres. Yes, it was a great sweep. Padres have also lost 5 straight. Apparently, that dressing room is
They had a brawl.
Toxic.
supposedly.
it's very toxic. That dressing room, it is more divided than Dan when he gets the calculator out to correct my math. The Blue Jays need to win again. They need to win that series against the Rays. I don't think there's a doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind that they have
it
to
was
win that
only a
series.
2-run home run. It wasn't like it was super.
But the Jays
serious.
can't score consistently.
Now,
They
hey,
have been late. The best way the Jays score is leaving Santander on the bench.
That's something Lane brought up in a previous episode too. That Santander has been a huge disappointment.
Yeah,
He
he's been
gave
hurt.
Toronto a hometown discount, and I'm wondering if that's because, and he's not even hometown, but he gave him a discount. I wonder if that's because he knew last year was a
Was a fluke.
bit of a flash in the pan.
So I did read something about how I don't know if this is true. Like, I don't know the guy, but can't call him up and come on the Streaker Time podcast.
I can. Hold on.
But no, I saw he was talking about. He did address it, and he apparently to start the season he had a really bad like elbow injury.
Yep.
And he's been trying to figure out what's going on, and like he's been struggling with like the rehab of it while
So
trying
here's the solution then,
Don't
because
play
you're gonna have a bit of an issue when the second baseman comes back in 3 or 4 days off the IL. You got to send somebody down. Why don't you put Santander on the 15-day IL? Send him down to Florida, figure out what's going on with the elbow,
I agree.
and leave the kids play.
good idea. I
can't-
like it.
You cannot send at this point any one of the kids that are playing 7, 8, 9 right now home back to Buffalo. It
Who's
doesn't
the
work.
kid that'll be sent down? Lucas?
That's got to be your option. As much as it sucks,
Yeah.
he's got options.
But I agree with you.
You send down one of the pitchers and go a bit bigger bench. But I think you want Lucas getting the hits. I think.
Oh, 100% you do. Lucas is
you
looking
want-
really good.
You want these guys not sitting on the bench.
I agree.
If you could send Straw down, I'm not saying that would be a bad thing, but
No, but you know
Straw's
what? It
even
was the
playing
same
well
conversation-
considering for 11 million.
It was the same convo we had about Austin Matthews. If he's injured, rest him and get him healthy and get him ready to go. And right now, Santander is not contributing enough that he's worth to be in the lineup. And you know what? I agree with you, Dan. Put him on the 15-day injury list. Send him down to Buffalo. I know Buffalo's not the nicest place in
Yeah,
the world, but it's not
Buffalo.
the worst. You can go have a beer with
They're
Josh
playing
Allen.
they're playing in a minor league park right now anyway.
I don't know. Like maybe it's time to send a guy down and get him healthy, right? I mean, you're not as worried about May baseball as you are in whatever month. the playoffs-
September.
Hold on, though. What do we say in hockey? A win in September and October is as good as a win in April. And that might be even more the case when it's 162. And
That's
you're on a
true.
3-game
I mean,
winning
the Jays
streak.
Also, they're in a tough division, so they need the wins.
Oh, they're
The
not really
division's
in a
weak
tough
this
division.
year.
Have
This
you
is the year to
looked?
take
They're
advantage.
They're
Yeah, the
second,
division's
five
been
and a
weak
half
this
back of
year
a really.
too. So this is the Jays' year to get it done, right?
They're second, 5.5 back of a really wonky Yankees team that if their pitching holds, will be surprised. And the other shocker is, as much as LA is leading the West on the other side, they are not running away with it.
No, right? So I mean, this could be the year the Jays need to try to figure it out, right? And you do wonder
on
maybe
this flip side, though, I think maybe we're doing Edmonton, Dallas. This could be a whole different streakers.
We are
but
always
I think the
streaking on
Jays
the
would go with
island.
Edmonton winning.
My $1 million question is: did we get? I don't remember because my short-term memory sucks. So I apologize. Did we get Chazzy's opinion on who's winning the game tonight?
Yes, he said to the people that are wearing his headband, or the
Yes, he did.
headband that
That's
he's
right.
wearing.
That's right. Good. Okay. So we got what? 3 for Edmonton, 2 for Dallas. So there we go. Ha.
So I think this is going to be a very interesting game tonight, though. I think this is a bigger. I'll be honest. I think this is a bigger game for Dallas than it is for Edmonton. I think Dallas has to go up 2-0. If you're Dallas, you do not want to give Edmonton any life when they're on the road, because I think Edmonton is probably the hardest barn left to play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying it's a Canadian barn, but let's just keep it a buck. The Canadian barns are the loudest barns ever in the playoffs, right? Winnipeg's already gone. They were the loudest barn. I think Edmonton was second loudest. Carolina, you could hear a pin drop during. I don't know. Carolina was really quiet in the last game. I don't know if you guys heard the fans cheering, "Shoot the puck! Shoot the puck!"
I heard them booing.
And they booed at the end of the first. So
wow.
They took lessons from Leafs fans.
Yeah, literally.
Which does still bring up my whole point, which will be in another debate show that I think the NHL playoff format desperately needs to change.
Mr.
But it
Jacob,
is what it is.
I do have to jet. I have that thing I got to do for my other job.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Wow.
Great seeing you, Mr. Gray.
Can you? I'll chat with you after about saying my last name wrong there, Mr. Friend. We will talk with you guys later. Have a good one.
Thanks, Dan Gray. See you later.
Bye-bye. Thanks for coming on.
Uh-oh.
What do you mean saying his last name wrong?
I couldn't pronounce his last name there. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Gway.
Shades. Ha ha!
Shade Vendor.
That's Shades, I believe.
That's Trevor?
Yes.
Shades Vader.
Yeah.
So, and then there were 4.
Yes.
But I truly feel this is a bigger game for Dallas than it is for Edmonton. I think Dallas, if you the way you won game 1, and then if you still end up with a split, that'll be such a letdown.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And I don't know if you boys agree with me on this or not, but I think Edmonton's a harder arena to play in than Dallas.
Oh, 100% it is. I mean, Dallas has a pretty good crowd, but
So, Shades, we're saying here right now, we were 3 people saying Edmonton would win tonight. And 2 saying if Dallas can't win this or Edmonton is screwed. I don't agree with you there, Shades, personally. Although
maybe
you are a very shady man, Mr. Shades. I feel Edmonton, if they go down. Hey, English, my first language is car, then sports, then English, Mr. Gray. Gray. But yeah.
What do you call it?
I don't even know. Probably something dumb. But it was a nice addition. I think he nailed it about the interference zone entry not being called. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, Dan Gray is an expert. He's he has quite a call following, so it's awesome having him on.
We are not sponsored by a cult, by the way, but I mean, depending what they want to give me, give me a call. Dr. Gray,
Yeah,
according
like
to
it.
Max. And I think this is just a game that's really big for I think this still is a bigger game for Dallas than Edmonton, because Dallas, if you split, you're in trouble because
Yeah,
this Oilers
sure.
team is so good.
You're using home ice at that point, right?
We're getting a lot of Dr. Gray in the chat.
Big fans.
Hey, there we go. We got to let his boss know. But I really feel this game is huge. Can Edmonton? Because I remember Edmonton was up 2-1 going into the third. I think that's what people are forgetting.
Yeah.
In game one, Dallas has Jordan on skates.
Oh, this again.
This again. Back to Mikko. Mikko Rantanen was quiet in game one.
Ooh.
Actually, Mikko Rantanen's been a bit quieter in general. So which is kind of, I'll be honest, it kind of terrifies me.
I would think in theory McDavid or Drysdale would be more like Jordan and Rantanen. I mean, they've done it more consistently throughout their career.
I think it's just though Mikko Rantanen, some of the games he's had in these playoffs have just been outstanding. But
Oh, I get that.
Mikko Rantanen in his last his last four, because the one game against Winnipeg, he had 3 points. But in his last 5, the 13th against Winnipeg, 1 assist. 15th against Winnipeg, -2. 17th, no points. 21st, 1 assist. But Dan Gray brings up an interesting point in the comments. See, even when Dan Gray leaves the show, he doesn't actually leave the show. As soon as my mouse gets over there. Problem when you have 18,006 screens. But he's saying is Rantanen potentially injured?
Could be.
Yeah.
He
that's
has
possible.
been slower. And you know what, Dan? I agree with you. I think Mikko Rantanen has looked a little slower of late. He could be hurt. Maybe he's not 100%. Maybe he's at 79.6482%. But I think Mikko Rantanen, even not playing at 100%, is still a very good player. I mean, he has 20 points in 14 games. He leads the NHL in points, I believe, right now.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see here. We had a high-scoring matchup with neither superstar having they had good games, but they didn't take over.
Right.
But I think it is time we sign off and get ready for our game, which is to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
We will
And
be
get
back
some
for a
food in our tummies.
We will be back for a post-game show. Grant at 70 is better than most Oilers, including Skinner. Dan, I do have to agree with you. Chazzy literally threw his phone in agreement. But thanks very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Dan Gray, for joining. Thank you to the comments from everyone, even the silent commenters. And also, to remember, Memorial Cup is on tonight, too. We will be talking about the Memorial Cup more very, very soon. We already projected Medicine Hat Tigers versus London Knights in the final. So let us know what you think about that. Just don't get us lettuce. Dan hates salad. Don't.
Yeah, I'm not bunny.
Okay, then. Thank you very much for watching the Streakers Island podcast. Make sure you download the Streakers app, play along, have fun. It's a game changer. I'm Jacob Moore, the self-proclaimed sports analyst. Beside me is Lane Dashco. We have Mr. Moore for your money.
Woo!
And Chazzy 5.0.
Let's go Oilers.
And big thank you to Dan Gray for joining us today. We'll see you guys in the post game.
Thank you. Bye-bye.